Building a successful landscape business can actually be pretty simple. In this video, I'm going to share 3 key tips to build a successful landscape business. And joining me is my wonderful friend and mentor, Bob Baker. And you probably also know about him from his successful YouTube channel. You can check him out at bobbakerinspiration.com. Again, that's bobbakerinspiration.com. Awesome guy, has a ton of awesome meditation videos and affirmation videos that you should definitely check out. I highly recommend them. They helped me get my mind right when it came to running my business. And anyway, this video, we're just going to talk about, again, 3 key ideas to build a successful landscape business. My name is Anthony with the Landscape Business Mentor. These 3 key ideas could guarantee your success with your landscape business. So what we're talking about is guaranteed ways to succeed with your landscape business. And my name is Anthony Hilb with the Landscape Business Mentor. And I have my amazing friend and mentor, Bob Baker, with us today. And I've been studying Bob's marketing material and his work for, it's been about 15 years, right?
It has been. Yeah. We've known each other a long time, and I'm an author and a YouTuber and a musician and all kinds of stuff. And I'm looking forward here to getting together with Anthony today and discussing how to grow a landscape business.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much, Bob. So yeah, I was just going over some guaranteed ways to succeed with a landscape business. And I remember when I first started the business 11 years ago, Nicole and I sat down and talked about all of the things that would disqualify someone from starting a business, a landscape business. And that's when we kind of had that aha moment, which was like, oh, we think we can succeed with it, because when you do the math, I think there's more demand for landscapers than there are landscapers. So when you're, with the law of supply and demand and economics, it works out where if you start a landscape company, as long as you're in a busy enough city, statistically, it should be able to work.
Right. So yeah, the law of supply and demand says if there's more demand than there is supply, then somebody could easily succeed at that. But you want to make sure, get all the disclaimers out there and make sure that people are qualified in different areas, that just make sure that to give them every opportunity to succeed. What would some of those things be? Or what would disqualify you, I guess, from wanting to pursue a landscape lawn care business?
It can get boiled down to whether someone wants to or not. So, I mean, technically speaking, you could be 90 years old and start a landscape business, but we're saying statistically 90-year-olds probably don't want to do it, even though they can. So yeah. I didn't, when her and I were having that conversation, I didn't like to just rule out parts of the population because they can, but statistically speaking, from our limited data points. So we're talking about age, we're talking about, what percentage of men or women would do it. Allergy.
Perhaps maybe it would be more accurate to say you have to be physically fit to pursue this, regardless of your age or your gender or whatever.
Yeah, physically fit. That's it. And then
so that's one requirement. Yeah.
Societal norms too. We talked about societal norms because a lot of the younger generation, or a lot of people in general, in at least in the US society, are kind of more influenced to pursue maybe white collar jobs, maybe things that aren't landscaping. So we said, well, we have that going for us because a lot of people don't encourage their kids to have a landscape business. So maybe a lot of people don't have a lot of encouragement to go into this field, even though it is in demand. Same with plumbing.
Right. So maybe it's for people who love being outdoors, people who love working with their hands. They love getting in the earth, getting dirty, and not everybody wants to do that as a profession. But those who do, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're allergic to bees, you probably don't want to mess with this.
Or pollen, or plants, or get rashes or whatever.
That could rule a lot of people out, right?
Right.
So, we talked about all those things, and I'd say mental and emotional health are a big deal too, because there might be long hours when you're first starting a business, especially outdoors in the hot weather. So we talked
Just
about
having
that.
stamina. Yeah. What about people skills? Like, I guess it depends if you're the person who is in touch with the customers versus the laborer who's just doing the work and maybe not, meeting people for estimates and all that stuff. But if you're building a landscape business, how important is that?
Yeah, that was huge because we did some test phone calls to other local businesses, and their voice mailboxes were full. They wouldn't return your calls or texts. They didn't seem interested. So we knew that if we brought really strong customer service to the table, at least in our city, we predicted at least that it would work. And over the years it has. But yeah, that's a really big deal. And every day people are telling me that they have people that aren't returning their calls when it comes to contractors and landscapers.
So it sounds like a key to success would be responsiveness. So being
Yeah,
available. So when you put things out there like a phone number or an email address or a website or with whatever it is, make sure that you're checking those things on a regular basis and getting the people. Yeah, people appreciate promptness and follow
absolutely.
up. And if you just kind of you start ghosting people, you're not going to build a
No.
client base, are you?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I did really early on to secure a ton of work, because I started off just mowing lawn. So when someone would call me, I didn't have a full book of business yet. So when someone would call me, I would drive there as I was on the phone with them, getting their address. They'd give me their address. I'd plug it into my GPS. I would drive there and do the quote on their lawn. And then I would say, well, if you'd like, I can do it right now if you want to hire me to take care of your lawn.
Wow.
And
That's amazing.
they would call me. I would start going to their house while I'm on the phone with them, give them a quote on the spot and mow the lawn right away. And that was like a surefire way to get clients back in the day.
That reminds me of a year and a half ago, our AC unit went out here in the house. We went a couple of days, and it was getting hotter out. And I called a friend of mine who referred me to this company that I'd heard of before. And he actually put me in touch with like one of the owners of the company who got on. It was like a Saturday, it was a weekend. And the guy actually called me and he himself came out to take a look at our unit and give me a bid and all that. And I just so appreciated that. And his uh, pricing was actually higher than some of the other people that ended up coming out and bidding on it. But I went with that company just because I knew they were going to take care of us, And they had a lot of great branding on the trucks when they pulled up. They had a I don't know, it was just very professional, friendly, responsive, and they got my business. So
Yeah, the trust was there.
all that stuff is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And so some of those qualifiers. So when I'm telling people guaranteed ways to succeed, I
Mhm.
boiled it down to 3 guarantees, and that's after you meet the prerequisite, right? Your
Right.
pre-qualifications, like, you're in good enough shape to do it. You actually want to do it. And like I said, that's a big deal right there, is the people that just don't want to do it, even though they can.
Right. Well, they probably wouldn't be watching this video or listening to this if they
No,
didn't want to do it.
do
So
it.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a big barrier to entry right there. It's just people that will not work. They don't want to work. But yeah, the first thing I mentioned, if you absolutely want to succeed, is doing it part-time. So if you have a business part-time, if you're not dependent on it as a source of income, you can't really go out of business. I mean, if you're not dependent on it to pay your bills, how are you going to go out of business?
So
So that's
part-time is
like,
the best way to start. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, that can be the best way to start. Or if there's a few guys I know in town that are firefighters or police officers, and they've been doing it for 30 years on the side.
Mhm.
And even if they only had 2 clients for their landscape business, they could keep it open for 20 years with just 2 clients, because it's not their primary source of income. So
Right.
that's a guaranteed way, as long as you're physically in shape and you want to do this kind of work and you don't have allergies and you're able to do it. You could only have 1 client. You could have 0 clients for 2 years. And if you're not depending on it to pay any of your bills, you're good.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm
so
guessing, yeah, it's also helpful not to put too much pressure on yourself for this to be your full-time income right out of the gate. Um,
yeah,
yeah. So start small and then work your way up if you want to, right?
yeah. Even if you want to, there's a lot of people who don't, they're totally happy just
Mhm.
getting their truck and trailer and mowing a few lawns. Actually, my uncle did that for many years, for about 20 years. He just, in his neighborhood, he had, I think, 4 or 5 accounts. I'd have to call him and see exactly how many accounts he had, but he did that for a really long time, and it was on the side and worked out well for him.
So,
So
so success is really how you define it, right? Don't let
yeah,
somebody else define it. It's on your own terms. It can be as small or as large as you want, right?
yeah, it doesn't have to be some multi-million, 50 locations. It doesn't have to be. I know a lot of people, when they think of success, they think of some big giant thing, and that's good too if that's what you want to do. But if it's just something you enjoy doing, some people are, it's their hobby to mow lawns. It's kind of like some people like to go fish or play golf after work. Some people want to go mow a couple lawns after work. I know that sounds crazy, but there are people out there like that.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
perfect for this business. Yeah. So what else?
exactly.
What else? Another key to success you got there?
So yeah, conversely, like if you do it full time, it would be just to be totally relentless with it. I mean, if you have to work 100-hour weeks, if you have to call all of your family members and relatives to help you, any person, read every book you can, work on it 24/7, like that's all you do.
Mhm.
As long as you can get your pricing right, you will succeed with it. But that's really extreme and not the most popular approach. But we're talking about guarantees here.
Right.
So I'm just
But if
saying,
yeah, but if you put in the effort, it can pan out for you.
yeah, and it's not the most strategic thing in the world, because every study shows that you're actually more productive when you have breaks and you have a day off, and that's all totally true. And the biggest software companies in the world utilize that approach. They utilize Scrum. If you've heard of Scrum,
I have. I
it's
forgot
kind
what
of
it
like a,
means.
it's like a
Yeah.
it's a way they do their project management, and just like a whole methodology on how to operate and be productive. And they'll take like a full hour lunch every day and stop right at 5 every day. They have plenty of family time, lots of balance. But when you're first starting out, you might make a lot of errors when you're quoting jobs, and you don't know what you're doing. So you actually have to put some of your own hours to supplement maybe some of your mistakes. So that's why I'm saying, working those long hours, you can get to the point in the future where you only work 20 or 30 hours and make more money than you were when you were working 100 hours. But when you're first getting started, I would say just being totally relentless about it. If you're going full time, like if you
Right.
just quit your job and you went and did it full time, that would be the advice I would give, is just
Go all
go
in.
hardcore with it. So, and that's what I ended up doing my second time around. When I first started, I did it part time and absolutely loved it. And then the second time, because I've had it open since 2011, but I did it part time until about 2016, and then I just did the whole burn all the ships approach, and that was my single source of income. And that's when I just went 100-hour weeks, continuously learning and improving, which ties back into the third key, which is learning and hiring a coach, and learning, modeling other people's success and
Yeah.
utilizing that. And that's where it really gets way easier, because and back to the relentless point, if you have to move to a different city to make it work, you move to a different city, because there's certain cities where this business probably won't work.
Yeah. The
So
market has to be big enough, right? And
yeah,
with enough people
exactly.
with disposable income who have big lawns or
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Who can afford it? Um, and
But yeah, I
so,
think hiring a
yeah,
coach, like I'm hiring you to help us
I
with
was
our
gonna say that's
YouTube
kind of the
channel.
relationship that we have. Even though I'm not a landscaping guy per se, yeah, we've known each other, and you've respected a lot of the books that I published and the things that I've done, and I'm here to keep you accountable. And we meet once a week, and it's helped you stay on track with your YouTube channel and other things, right?
Yeah, and this YouTube channel, for the landscape business mentor, it's going well, but for Anthony's lawn care and landscaping, it's like really taken off. So
Yay.
I'm even getting like fan emails about it. Like, our kids love when they see your commercials, and then you have some of the people that are like, oh my gosh, I see you on YouTube so much. But the fact of the matter is, it's working, and we're getting a lot of estimates from it. We're
Yeah.
getting a lot of requests and people getting in touch with us from those videos. So it's
But
helping the
yeah,
business.
having a mentor is really important and someone to guide you who's been there and done that. And you're even starting to offer that yourself. You're in the early stages of that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Helping other landscapers who are just starting. Um, I think that people who are just starting can kind of bypass those frustrating years if they hire the right person. Because, for example, if I was just starting today, let's say I was just starting my landscape business today, and I had enough money to hire a coach for even just for 2 months, that coach, I could ask them to teach me how to price jobs right away. And then I wouldn't have to learn from trial and error for 2 years of underbidding jobs. I could hire someone, they can teach me how to properly bid jobs, and I could start properly bidding jobs by next week instead of 2 years from now.
Yeah, that was a
That's what I love
painful.
about
There's probably
coaching.
some painful lessons you learned in that
Yes.
process.
So
I'll
you can
bet.
just bypass all those painful lessons when you hire someone who has already succeeded with it. They'll set you on the right path right away. And that's my goal. That's what I want to do with the landscape business mentor. And obviously I'm going to need to find people who will actually apply what we're talking about. But yeah, I think it'll be a really big help, especially with pricing, hiring, how to hire the right people, how to find the right
Equipment.
clients, you know?
Yeah.
So
Acquiring the right equipment or trucks or whatever, and
yeah,
eventually as you grow.
yeah, and growing strategically, not because you can grow too fast. And then some people who grow too fast end up going out of business because they just can't keep up with it, or they just get really stressed and frustrated and don't want to do it
Yeah.
anymore. Or maybe they can't find employees because you can grow so fast where you can't find enough employees to work with your business quickly enough. And then your schedule's booked out like a year, and then no
Yeah.
clients really want to work with you anymore. If you're like, oh, well, I'm booked out a year, sorry. I
Well,
mean,
your success story is pretty amazing because I know we've been in touch about this, but going from mowing lawns by your just on your own, I mean, years ago to now having how many people work with you now? Is it around 20-ish or something
I
or
say 23 all the time, but I think actually right now it's 22.
22? Okay.
But it'll probably be 24 by the middle of summer. So
And you're leasing a facility where you have the trucks and the various equipment and all
yeah,
that. I mean, it's really grown into quite an operation.
after
And
operating
so,
out of the house for years,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah, having our own shop and all that is amazing. But again, it just took time. It took
yeah.
that's another thing. If I talk to people just starting their business, is just it might take 4, 5, 6 years and just hanging in there while you're building it up.
That's very cool. So, how can people find out more about your coaching and mentoring services? How can they get in touch with you?
So they can visit the landscapebusinessmentor.com, or they can give us a call and our office manager will answer the phone, or they can text this number 812-929-9463. And again, the landscapebusinessmentor.com. They can just fill out a form and get a free coaching session. And even the free coaching session can really help people a lot. Just talking about it for 30 minutes can help people get on the right track. I've done free coaching sessions, where other people have free coaching sessions, and I've taken them up on it, and it actually helped me out tremendously. So
Very
I'm pretty
cool.
sure you were one of them. You gave me one.
I I may have done that. So,
Yeah.
well,
So
I'm impressed, Anthony. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and continued success. And I look forward to more videos that you post here on your channel in the future.
thank you so much for chatting with me about some of these points. And it's always great meeting with you. Thank you so much.
All right. So long, everybody. Bye.